barge as well. So I don't know if that makes sense. And I hear boats. I can hear boats right now as we're talking, or as I'm talking to you guys. I can hear like beep beep from like a boat, like a larger boat, how they have those loud horns. Or what a barge really is, but I'm hearing barge. Myself, I'm kind of confused because I hear splash too, where like trash collects in the water. Because I can see trash collected like in the water. So you see someone sinking in water, but reaching up like this. So I don't know if that's him or if that's someone else that maybe drowned. This is so confusing. And the card, it's almost like I'm sinking, but I'm reaching up.
Put it out in case he's found soon, because I feel that push again. I did part of the cards and they basically point towards the water. I really think he's in the water, about like a second curve of the river. They showed me like two curves. So unfortunately, I really do feel like he's in the water and he's stuck on something. There's more bridges further down. I haven't really looked at the map that much, honestly. It's when I pulled the church. Now it's symbolic for a street because he was last seen on Church Gay Street. Church/Gay Street. Eerily significant. This isn't great news. And my mind keeps going to the river. I really think he's unfortunately in the water, especially with reference to Wednesday that I'm getting right now. So the week, which that's the 20th, right? It's kind of interesting. They're kind of giving me 20th. So I'm just...
Confirms the news, too. They will be focusing efforts around the Cheatham Dam around noon today. The sheriff says this will be a basic shutdown. Strain has been missing for 12 days now since dipping by water and in the air for that missing college student.
Official activity we have seen along the riverfront in about a week. I have drones that will be used today.
Had a sit-down meeting with Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
United Cajun Navy to help them organize search party.
We found they're actually showing me him being pulled out of the water. So industrial area by there, but I see kind of like smoke. It's not really a smokestack. Like maybe like out here we have a place where there's like the steam comes up. It might be somewhere like that, but it's not like right by there, but I could see it. Like I'm maybe in front of it, and if I look back I could see it. Like that's the way it's coming in. And it's like I'm in front of the bridge, so if I look backwards, the bridge is behind me. That's the best way I can describe it. And also that stack would be behind me. I don't know how fast it goes though. I wonder if he would be further than 2 miles. And I heard today too that the barges usually find them. And I find that interesting because barge came in Elijah. So we all know how I get information before stuff happens. And all my cases lately are interconnecting due to... I didn't even know they had barges through there. So, I mean, that might be something that's significant because that's kind of coming to me as well.
Alert this morning in the search for missing college student Riley Strain. Metro Police confirm his body was found in the Cumberland River this morning. Today marked 2 weeks since Strain disappeared while on a fraternity trip in Nashville.
Businesses in this area were routinely checking the water every day for signs of Riley. Around 7:30 this morning, one of those businesses reported a body in the water. And
typically on the river, whether it's barge companies, concrete companies, other businesses that actually are on the river, and they look routinely, as it's happened countless times before. And as they moved, I believe, a barge, and don't quote me on that, they removed something from the river, and as they moved it, they noticed Mr. Strain. So
it would be like a second, like big curve, not a little curve. It feels like it kind of winds. It gets a big wind. Do you know what I mean? Slip. Stuff was kind of finally coming to me because it's been a little bit, so he must be getting ready to be found. I keep getting a reference to a golf course for like days. I don't know who it fits, but golf course seems significant. So
it's now confirmed that this young man's body has been recovered from the river. They've been hoping and praying for Riley's safe return. Oh, this was the news that we thought we might be reporting. And now here we are. It is confirmed that the body that was just recovered is that of Riley Strain. Oh, I can't imagine. And it's really important to note that if you've ever been to Nashville, and if you've been to Broadway, where all of the bars.
Hey, friend, were you able to get a hold of your searchers on Wednesday for Riley?
Yes. Hey, how are you?
Oh man, this has been driving me crazy.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure. No, yes, I absolutely reached out on Wednesday morning early. I spoke to a friend of mine that then connected me to the guy that was on the ground actually. And so I spoke with him and I explained to him exactly what you had said in the video. But before I even had a chance to call the second guy, I went and listened to your video again. And then what I did was I wrote every single thing you said down from the second curve, which you said like so many times, that was like so prevalent. And then you said you had mentioned you thought at that point it was around 2 miles, but you weren't focusing on the mileage at all. You were just saying sometimes, you get that as a range. I explained there was a runoff pipe, like a metal runoff pipe that like went into the water. I also explained to him that there was a sandy area and you weren't sure if it was in the middle or on the side of the river. And you also had mentioned that if they were at the right spot, that if they looked behind them, they would see that there was an industrial area, like smokestacks is what you had referred, to seeing. And then there would be a bridge behind them. And then you kept reiterating the second big curve, and you did say that winds big. And then at that point, you said you were hearing 2.5. Again, you weren't saying it was mileage as far as where he was. You were saying that was a range you were getting, and maybe that's where he was maybe at that moment. I'm not sure. But I told them, don't focus on the mileage at all. Only focus on the specifics. And I told him that you said a barge, and you also said a barge, you mentioned something like a barge would find him or something like that, which sounded crazy to me because a barge is like one of those, almost looks like a floating dock that you can put things on to get them through like skinnier waterways. And so anyways, I told him to look for the barge. And then you had also said to look under things. And so I played your message and I wrote all that information down that I just told you. And then I called him and told him everything. Not only did I tell him everything, I sent your video as well. Like right after I spoke with him, I sent it in a text message. Then you and I spoke again. You kept reiterating the second curve. And then you also said the barge was really important and they needed to look under things. So when I called him back, I said, go back to that spot where you see the barge, but you have to be past the second curve for sure. And if you're at a position where you see the barge, and then I don't know if there's one or two or how many barges would be there, but it's after the second curve for sure. Look behind you. If you see the bridge, you see the industrial area, and you see barges like to your right or left or, in front of you a little bit, then look under it. And I said, I don't know if she's saying that he's under the barge, but it sounds like it. So, or he's under something that's near the barge or right next to it. And there also might be a trash pile up of some sort right there. So you might want to look around that as well. But I said the barge is really important and the second curve is really important. So once you get past the second curve and you get to that area where you can see all of those things that she said, find the barge. And I told him, like, I don't know how many will be there, like the barges, but look under all of them or look around all of them and under anything that's near them. And he said, you got it. So the first time I spoke to him was early Wednesday morning, like 8:30 in the morning. And then I spoke to him again around like 9 p.m. Wednesday night, because they were going to be taking another boat that was, you know, had a lot more, I guess, a lot more things on it that it was equipped with to help locate, like, you know, with sonar, help locate a body or lighting and whatever. So they were going to go check it out. And that's when I wanted to make sure that I called and reiterated the second curve and the barge. And I told them, make sure you look under it and look under everything around that barge. And that was it. And then I followed that up with a text message as well to make sure that it was reiterated. So whoever the messages were getting passed on, like whoever was going to be out on the boat, like definitely knew like where to look, and that was it. So yes, I was definitely able to connect and gave him all the information since Wednesday morning at 8:30 a.m. How's that? and
Yes.
and Missy, let me just tell you something. You are incredible, because when Riley's dad, or no, it wasn't Riley's dad, it was the Chris, the spokesperson. Spokesperson, Chris Dingman, I think his name was. He said that Riley's dad had actually been out. If I recall this news report that I heard accurately, that his dad had been out with, I don't know who he went out with that night. It might have been a sheriff or somebody he just knew that had a boat, and they went out with somebody, and he was out at like 1 a.m. And at that time they went to that barge, and he actually said they put a pin in it. They put a pin there and said, there's something here. That was at like 1 a.m. the night before Riley was found at 7:28 or 29 that next morning. But his dad was actually there and said I guess they put a pin there to come back and check when it was, or to go back and check, I'm sorry, when it was daylight, so they could see. But he said something was there, and I don't know that he knew that it was Riley at the time, but said something's here, so they needed to go back and check that for sure. And they were at that barge and they put a pin in it, and I didn't even know that till after the fact. But I will tell you that when that the cop, the Nashville police officer, made the announcement and said that the barge company lifted up the barge and Riley popped up, I literally got chills through my whole body, because if you stressed anything, it was the barge and looking under it. And that was, not only in your reading did you say that, but you also said that like when we talked several times. So that's why it was so important. But anyways, it was wild. And I was so proud of you, because you just have been amazing. In all the cases we've ever done together, you have been so amazing. So just love you to pieces. You are the best. And that was exactly where he was found.
Well, I wanted to get you on here and talk about this, because everybody always says, well, why don't you turn your stuff into law enforcement? Why don't you turn your stuff into this search company, that search company? We do sometimes when we're certain of something. And, they still get found a different way if we're not listened to. But if we would have been listened to, might have been found sooner. Who knows? And this happened several times. So we just wanted to put this validation out, so that people know that we tried. We tried. I'll never have another pinpoint location like this ever again.
I don't believe that. Yes, you will.
Well,
Yes,
I'm just saying because it was like easy, like second curve barge. You know what I mean? When you're in the woods, it's different. When you're other places, it's different. It was very easy to like pinpoint, because there was reference locations that were, easier. And he might have been, didn't you say that the guy said that at 2.5 miles, like he might have been there on Tuesday or at some point? Or, what else I was thinking about that is, I think that island or whatever was 2 miles, and they were going to go back to search that 2 mile point. It also might have been some kind of directions, like go 2 miles to the island and then continue to the second curve. Well, the second curve came in first.
Right. But here's something else. Well, and here's another way to look at it. You said 2 And then you said 2.5. So 2 could have been the second curve, and 2.5 could have been where that barge is actually located, halfway between the second and the third curve, if there is even a third curve. But here's what the takeaway is. It does not matter what anybody else says. Okay, here's what matters is that you do this from the goodness and the purest area in your heart and soul. You are trying to help. If you get 9 out of 10 things, 100%, and the 2, you just didn't know where to apply it, because when you're hearing messages, you are trying to apply them to what you think it may go or what they're telling you. And it might not even make sense to you, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that you said, look under things and the barge. And regardless of how anybody wants to pick it apart, he was found under the barge. And that's the end of it. So if somebody wants to come on and pick apart one thing you didn't say, or this mileage, it was supposed to, maybe they're saying you said the barge was going to be, you never once said in your reading that the barge is going to be 2.5 miles. You never said the second curve is going to be 2.5 miles. Who knows what the heck the 2.5 miles was? And it could have been what you thought. It could have been 2 after the second curve and halfway, to the third curve, which could be where that barge is. I haven't actually seen the location, like the aerial view of where that barge was. So I don't know if anyone else has seen it, but regardless, it doesn't matter. And you don't need to explain yourself to anybody. When you do this with the good intentions that I know you do, I've known you for so many years. We started back at Carly together, and you have, and Molly. And if you think about it, you do this because this is where your heart is, and you come out with the purest intentions to help. You're not God. No one's perfect, but I'm telling you what, you should be pretty darn proud, because that message that you released randomly laying on your couch, sick and not even completely connected, was exactly where he was found. And, on the other flip side of it, when people send this kind of stuff to law enforcement, most likely they're not going to even listen, and they're not going to watch things, because from my experience, from talking to any of them, they like to go on hard facts. That is not a dig at you. That's just the way that they do it. So when people want to say anything negative to you, if you are truly just trying to help because you want to save these children or give families closure, then you just stand in that truth, Rachelle, and you be proud of that, because I'm proud of you. And that's all that matters. So if somebody wants to run away with one thing and say that this is what you said, who cares? Let them run.
Well, and that's the thing, is that people don't know how that's going to fit, or if that's going to fit. We might not get all the validation for that, but that wasn't the focus, because the second curve came in first. So if the second curve is farther,
the second curve came in 3 times.
Yeah, and if they repeat it, and if it's farther than 2.5 miles, then obviously you would go to the second curve, because I even described the second curve, and that's no different than saying Wednesday and the 20th. Sometimes it's after Wednesday, sometimes it's after the 20th, but also that's when they deployed all the searchers. So he was, who knows? That was the start of things ramping up.
Well, I will tell you this, knowing you and how you do your readings, Wednesday the 20th and 2.5 is probably on your next case that's coming, because every single time I've ever worked with you, you get messages in the case we're working on for ones that we don't even know that are coming yet. So and I know you try really hard to figure out where it should fit and put these pieces together, because it's like you're given this overwhelming amount of material and you're trying to put the pieces together to make sense of it, to share it, to help. And you're doing a great job. And so
we might not always know where everything fits, because
you don't know
the light, but usually sometimes it comes out later. But usually, just because I say a date, it can just be something important happening. I might misperceive it and take it as just like, the miles. I might have taken that as 2.5, like 2.5 miles.
Mm-hmm. But it could have been 2.5 to the second curve. Yeah.
Yeah. But I took it as miles because you know. But if the curves, if I'm describing the second curve and it's further, then you would go to that. But still, it's, you know, sometimes it's stuff that's important that's going to happen. It's not always when they're going to be found. Sometimes it's stuff that's important, stuff around the case. So the fact that they brought in the Cajun Navy on Wednesday, they deployed everybody on Wednesday, that's why. It was like they were telling me something important was coming, and that was going to probably lead to his discovery in some way. So, but we just
Well,
wanted
I'm
to
proud
put
of
this
you.
out.
Well, I'm
thank
glad you did. And I'm
I
proud of you.
appreciate you. I appreciate you getting a hold of them and trying your hardest, you know, trying your hardest. That's all we can say. Trying your hardest to get them to listen, and it's left in their hands, and they can do whatever they want to do at that point, you know. But I'm sure next time they'd probably listen.
Yeah. And think about this too. I just thought of this. You kept saying the second curve in the beginning of your reading, and then you said 2. You kept hearing 2. You added miles to that, but that could have been the second curve. Then at the very end of your reading, you said, oh, now I'm hearing 2.5. You again added miles to that. And that was your interpretation, which is 100% fine. But what that could have meant was after you pass the second curve, you'll go halfway to the next one, and right there, the bard's right there. And it very well could be the exact location. So maybe when they finally show where he was actually found.
They have showed.
Oh,
I'm
I
actually
haven't
gonna
seen
cut
it.
to this video. Yeah, it's a little after the second curve, and then right there's the golf course, and there's.
But I mean, did you see like the water area? Like, did you actually see the barge there?
There's actually a big metal pipe that comes out from
I
the
haven't seen
barge
it.
and releases water. So there's actually, remember how I said there's like a runoff of a pipe?
Yeah.
There's actually one above the barge, and you actually go through a neighborhood to get there. And I remember when I pulled cards, I pulled the neighborhood card. So he was literally right there, like in the water outside this neighborhood. And then there's the barge. There's this big metal pipe. The behind you would be all we talked about. Like you would see the smokestack, you would see the bridge.
Yeah.
You would see the golf course is right there at the end of the first curve. So
is there another curve after the second one?
Yeah. No, it doesn't, it's like goes one curve and then it goes another curve. And then when I looked at the map, that's why I put the map on that I did on my thumbnail, because
it looks like a U.
I kept going to that second curve and I was like, this has got to be it, because the golf course is right there. You know, I look at the maps afterwards, and that's why I took a screenshot of that part of the map and I put it on my thumbnail, because I'll usually do that if I have a location, and so that people can see, hey, this is the location on my thumbnail. I probably should have put it on the video, but I was sick. I wasn't thinking. But it's right there on the thumbnail anyways. So, you know.
Wow. Well, you just be proud of yourself, because you did a great job. And that reading speaks for itself. And if anybody has any questions, then the police chief went ahead and said that Riley was found under the barge. So end of it. I mean, that's where he was. That's what you said. And leave it there. Just leave it there and just continue.
We know that we tried. That's all I can say. We know that we tried, and he was still found a different way, which is what I always try to tell people.
Yeah, but in your reading, but listen to what you said in your reading. You said, and you kind of there's barge. You mentioned the barge, and then you said, "Oh, I didn't even know there's barges there." And then you said, "A barge will find him." And at that point, when I heard you say that in your reading, something about a barge will find him, I thought that sounded funny, like to me, because I was thinking, now, how is that going to happen? And right away, it completely like negated all the like search and rescue teams, because if the barge was going to find him, and sure as anything, that's what happened. That cop said that the barge company went out in the morning, and some other company, I forget, he named two, and he raised it.
There was some things that were going on about how there was another psychic that had sent in their information to these people, and that they followed it, and that's how they found him. But the thing is that the barge found him. No one else found him. And
well, if you listen to the one lady that
no one followed
TikTok,
psychics, obviously, because if they would have followed psychics, then they would have followed this information on Wednesday.
Well, but also you sent me a link of somebody that said she had sent a map or something, and she said she sent it to them with no response. So like if somebody is saying that somebody sent something and they used a chart to find him, then that's not a true statement, because if we're talking about the same lady, she says right in the beginning of her video, she sent this to
It's a
Kate.
different one. It's a different
Oh,
one, I think.
oh.
And there was somebody saying, oh, that they were the Cajun Navy, and that, yeah, they used her map, and that's where he was. That's how they found him, but they didn't find him, for one. And for two, they obviously wouldn't take psychic stuff because we had a pinpoint location that I'll probably never have again, and it wasn't followed. And that's not saying anything bad about anybody. It's just sometimes people are skeptical and they want to do their own things, and so that's what they do. That's just the way that it is, and I've gotten used to it in 11 years, because every time I have a good area, I get ignored. I get ignored, and then it ends up being right. I get told all the time, it was searched, and then they find the person there. So, it's just one of those things where it gets frustrating for me, it gets frustrating for you, it gets frustrating for everybody. But in the end, we can't say we don't try. And that was the whole point of me adding this to a video or putting this out there, is because I want people to know that we do try. But once it leaves our hands, that's it. We have no more control over it. And we gave exact directions, which again, I'll never be able to do again.
Yes, you
I'll
will.
never
Stop
be able to
saying
do
that.
again. I'm just saying,
Next
it
time
was
you're sick, lay
it
on
was
the couch.
easier because of the reference points, a lot easier than normal. When you're working in the woods or whatever, it's not like there's a second curve in the woods. You know what I mean? So it's a
Yeah.
lot harder to pinpoint things when it's not like. And the fact that I did that very randomly, it wasn't a real reading, that kind of blew my mind, because it was like stuff just was coming to me as I was talking to everybody, and that doesn't ever really happen that much either. So, I was
that's
meant to
because
get
he
the
was meant to be
information
found right
that I
then, I think.
got. Yeah. And that's why
Yep.
Spirit pushed it. They
Yep.
pushed it because they wanted me to put it out, regardless of if it helped him be found or not. It was there, and it's a validation of Spirit, and it's that's one reason I do it, and the reason I like to put these things out is to teach people. So I appreciate
Aw.
you so much for bugging them and calling them and putting yourself out
I
there
think
like
they
that.
went out. I think they did. I do. I think they went out the first day, but I don't
They just
I
didn't
don't think
look
they had
under.
the boat. Yeah, that's exactly what probably happened. And I don't know. I think that the best thing that came out of this is that he was found,
Oh
and
yes.
that
And
his sweet mom, oh my gosh, every time I saw her on any of those like pressers, I literally cried with her. Like, she needed this
it,
closure, and I know it's not what she wanted, but I couldn't leave that state without my baby either. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad that he was found. And
yeah.
I just think
And
you're
that's
amazing.
why we do what we do. And then the other thing too is that the stuff that I got that could have happened, and not saying that he was robbed, but so maybe somebody tried to rob him. Maybe somebody tried to take advantage of him at some point in the night. I mean, he went through a lot of different people at that night. I get things around the case,
Mhm.
and that's what people don't understand too. I'm not saying that there was any foul play involved. I'm just saying that there was some stuff that happened on his travels. He was not in a good area. That's not a good area of Nashville. So who knows, um, but it is what
The-
it is. And unfortunately these things happen. And unfortunately it was just a tragic event. And my heart, my heart goes out to the friends and family. And I'm happy that they found him. So that the parents can have some closure, so they're not wondering all the time. Because I can't imagine. I have a 19-year-old, and I think that's our biggest fear is having kids. So
oh,
I
most
just
definitely.
wanted to thank you and bring you on and have you tell this story to everybody.
And just remember this, Rochelle, like normal people, and I'm going to say for lack of better words, like me, that doesn't have these abilities because I'm as psychic as the wall. If I went out, like when I go out and help find people and do these cases, I am starting with just like last known locations, or like the solid hard evidence, or what we know. When somebody like you comes in, you're trying to give extra like bonus information to help us or to help anybody. And you need to look at it that way, because all of us who want to like sit back and criticize and say, oh, I can't believe you weren't spot on, but none of us can do that. And the people that say they can, like I know in cases I've done, I've had mediums contact me, and that's why a lot of people don't listen to them, because for one girl, they had her sitting on a beach in Hawaii, and another one said she was in a mine licking cement walls for get water. And like, so, I mean, it can be pretty crazy, you know,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, when you can give someone like something to go on, or, and it just like meshes, it makes sense. Or like, for example, if they had boats in the water, and I believe in you with my whole heart, you know I do. But like if they had boats in the water, if they had not had boats in the water, I probably wouldn't even have reached out. But since they knew they had boats going in the water, I could reach out and say, hey, while you're there, just check this out, because I believe in this girl, and I know you guys don't really like listen to this kind of stuff, but just for whatever it's worth, what is it going to hurt? You know, you're there. It's just another like way to rule things out, maybe. And so when somebody, and I used to get frustrated too, because you want people to give you exact information, but no, only God can do that, you know? And so when you can get the most accurate information you think you are able to get, and you're sharing it with the purest of intentions, nobody should be criticizing anybody, because if you take all that you said away, then you're just dropped in areas just kind of blindly trying to figure things out. And all these people that are going on these searches, they want as much information as they can get, you know, like, and some of them believe in what mediums say, and some of them don't. But it definitely opens your eyes to other possibilities or things that can be out there. And so look at it that way, because like if I was going there searching, I would be like walking his last trek. I wouldn't have thought to get in the water and go look, you know, around two curves, because that doesn't come to me, and probably not anyone else normally. You know what I mean? And so you have to look at what you're actually adding to this and be proud of that, because when you do it from the source of, you know, with a pure heart, which you are, and you're trying to help, that's all that matters. And it's always a bonus, just like they say when you know, somebody gets remarried and they get like a bonus mom. That's what you're getting like bonus information on, you know, the case, because what they have to go on, which is maybe hard evidence or last known location, but what you're adding is a lot more information that they can look into. And if it helps, then I mean, look what happens. You know what I mean? So whatever. I mean, I really think that you just don't be hard on yourself and don't doubt yourself. I mean, you're amazing, and I've known you for a long time, and I know where it's all coming from, and just you keep being you and keep doing the job you're doing, because it does help. And I do have people that listen to me. So, you know, that's it. That's what I want to say. So I'm glad you called me, because I wanted to like update you anyways. I know we haven't had a chance to catch up, but I'm just really proud of you. I had goosebumps when I heard that guy say that they found him under a barge. I was like, oh my goodness sakes.
Yep. And I remember on the comment on YouTube when you were trying to get a hold of me, I was like, they need to be looking under things, because it was like, I think, you know, almost like I think he's stuck. You know, and everybody said, oh, this is so obvious. Well, if it was so obvious, then I think he would have been found. So, you know, it's just a validation of spirit is all it is. And it's just, this is just a thing saying that we tried. So, and it just shows that, you know, a lot of times they don't listen to mediums, and I can understand why. And that's why sometimes I don't turn in my information, because unless I have an exact area, it's literally, they're not going to listen. And it's almost impossible to get an exact area, because it doesn't work like that. It's always puzzle pieces. So, you know, I appreciate you letting me record this and put this up. It's probably longer than what we wanted, but that's okay. And
of course. Would we ever have a phone call that was just 5 minutes or so?
Nope.
So,
or 2 Aquariuses, it happens. But thank you again. I appreciate it for, you know, putting that work in.
Oh no. And you can work with me anytime, because my people believe you.
Well, I hope that these people will believe me now, but I won't always be right. You know, it's one of those things where I'm still human. It's just the way that it is. So,
well, yeah, but you can give the information, and we can see what fits, you know? I mean, that's what you do.
Yep.
Yep.
So
So, anyways, but I appreciate you and thank you so much for doing all that you do. And yes, I will forever work with you and take you to all my people because they believe in you and they know that you're good. And that's all that really matters. Just believe in yourself. You're doing it for
no,
the right
I do.
reasons.
It's just it gets frustrating because I'm sitting here like I know he's right there. I know he's right there. Can they just go check that? Can they just go check that, please?
You know
And then
what's so funny is
there's times where it's like, can I go check this just so I know that they're not there so I can continue on? You know what I mean? Like I wish I could do that too because you don't know. And then I'll drive myself
and you know
crazy.
how hyper I am. So I was thinking this whole time, oh my gosh, if I was there and I had her on the phone, I could go get someone to put me in their boat. Oh, I'd go straight there because you know me. I
Yeah.
would not stop till I found every single thing you said. That's what we need. We need to get a crew that is like willing to do that and just like go and search all of our areas, whatever you come up with that is like totally, you feel is pretty spot on, like this one. And well, I shouldn't say that because all of your readings, obviously, you feel like you're giving the best information. But like this, like you said, with exact location, I guess is the better way to put it. And then we could have them go check. And then once we do it, I could just reach out to like search and rescue people and say, hey, can you go check this or take this person with you and go? And there you go. See, that's what we need. We need to be able to like work all ends of it.
I wanted a group like that with our own search dogs and search equipment and stuff, but I don't know.
That would be
how to
really
start
neat.
it.
That would be
That's
so
been my
cool.
dream for years, but I don't know how to start it. But it would help my frustrations a little bit. So
Well, because people would
is.
listen to you. The people that were on the ground would listen to you because they were like part of the group. Oh,
I
yeah,
just
that would be
don't-
really fun. That would be
I
so
don't ever
neat.
want to send like people on wild goose chases or anything. So that's another reason why I have a hard time. Like I'm not trying to force myself on police. I'm not trying to hinder investigations. I'm not trying to, send you here and send you there and send you here. Like I like to be more sure, and then we can X places out. But there comes a point where it's like I get stuck in an area and until it's checked, I can't. It's like I'm not going to be able to stop. So like I kept going back to the river even though I tried to go away from it, and then when I went back and then it was like, okay, that's got to be it. If I keep going back to an area, keep being pulled back to an area, I notice it's for a reason. Like if I can't leave an area, it's for a reason. So that's me learning that as well because on maps I get pulled all over, but it's like that was easy because I saw it on the map, saw the second curve, so I was like, I'm going to put this on my thumbnail. That's where he's got to be at. So
Yep.
But
well
thank
you
you
did
again.
great. You're welcome. Thanks for calling. I'm so glad we got
Yep.
a chance to catch up too. Okay, we'll stay in touch. I'll talk to
All
you
right, I
soon,
will.
girly. Okay, love you to
Okay,
pieces.
bye.
Bye.